you just heard there was Grail by Fozzy off their new album Chasing the Grail. Good tune, good tune. As you all know, this is Balling Awesome.
It's pucking great.
This is a special, we'll say, playoff edition. You may not have noticed it's been a day or two since the last edition
I
of
believe it's been 6 days.
6 days or two.
Yeah, yes.
It's been 6 days or two since the last edition of Ballin' Awesome.
Right.
So we apologize for the delay. I'm sure you've all been waiting with bated breath for this newest one. So we're glad to fill your addiction, we'll call it. Nathan?
With that said, let's.
You know what? On a series of has to do you.
Let's. Right.
Yeah, right.
So, moving forward, let's start off with just going ahead with the NHL playoffs, because that's what brings us here today. You'll never guess with whom we're affiliated. Never once.
I'm a big Panthers fan.
I think they're going to take the Super Bowl this year. Sorry, the Super Cup.
I was thinking they were going to win the Lotto Jam, or at least the pennant.
The Penat. Penat. It's French.
Sorry, you know what? Me being a very Western Canadian fellow, I wasn't aware.
Righto.
So, which series do you want to cover first? Well, you start in West or East?
Let's go East first, and then we'll end up at home.
Get yourself back.
So let's start with the 1 versus 8 seed in Washington, Montreal. Washington lost a game? What the fuck?
As surprising it is because the quality of the Washington scores, I assumed Yaroslav Halak would steal at least one game if you didn't see the Olympics. On a scale from Yaroslav to Halak, all of the above was the answer.
Let's. But nonetheless, in the game since, it's been men versus boys. But I think they still might win another game yet, based on the way Halak's played, and exclusively that.
Yeah, but now the thing is, though, they pulled Halak, which I think was a pretty bad move because it wasn't that many goals in. And now, if you put Price in, there's all the questions about Price because he's not very good this year. And if you put Halak back in, you may have shaken his confidence by pulling him, thus hurting your best chance to win the series, which was Yaroslav Halak.
That said, and I don't know, we said we'd end up back at home, but we pulled Roberto Luongo.
Well, yeah, but we're on a razor's edge, and that's cool. We'll come back to that, though.
Fair enough. 2 versus 7. We got New Jersey and Philadelphia.
New Jersey and Philadelphia. This one was interesting because New Jersey has played a great year. They found some scoring. Obviously, Zach Parise' defense is always solid, and Martin Berger.
They added the great scoring talent of Ilya Kovalchuk.
They definitely do that at the trade deadline.
So, as is obvious, they're losing their asses off.
Oh, that series is definitely 3-1. The big thing here was even though New Jersey was the better team, Martin Berger's nominated for the Heisman Trophy. Look at the season series; it's like 4-1-1 or something like that.
I don't even know if it's that good. I don't like.
Philadelphia crushed them. It wasn't even close in the season series. Philadelphia had their number, and I don't think
New Jersey hasn't won in Philadelphia for like
years.
3 years.
Yeah, it just hasn't happened, and that would be okay because they have home ice advantage. But unfortunately for them, they split the first 2 games, which leaves them more or less boned.
And I didn't see this loss coming. I guess I should have based on the season series, but I just thought New Jersey was going to pull it out, down 3-1.
That's it's going to be something hard to come back from. And you know what? If anyone can steal a game, it's Martin Berger. But as we've learned with Martin Berger, the longer the game goes and the deeper the series, sometimes it works against him. You know, just look at the Carolina Hurricanes last year. Who the Carolina Hurricanes were going to be the freaking team to beat the New Jersey Devils and go to the Eastern Conference Finals against Pittsburgh Penguins? No one did, except for me. But no one else did.
Well, John Connor is a man to rule them all.
Mm-hmm.
John Connor, Cam Ward, a man sent from the future to destroy the machines, the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Actually, more or less, John Connor, who's in Ochara. John Connor is Cam Ward, was sent from the future to destroy the Boston Bruins because they had in their possession the Terminator, Zdeno Chara. And if you didn't notice, the humans won that war.
That was last year, not this year. All right, let's go 3-6. As much as I'm wearing this Vancouver jersey, I love to see Boston pulling out those wins over those Buffaloes. I don't care what you say. You got a Buffalo on your jersey, you're a Buffalo.
Buffalo Slugs. But yes.
Buffalo Slugs also acceptable.
That's you know what that's going to be a tight, low-scoring series, and I mean, I still think Buffalo's going to take it. It's unfortunate for Boston, but they even though the series isn't out of hand, I just don't think Boston can score goals.
And I hear where you're coming from on that, but Coach Z, how come you don't dance no more?
No, Zdeno Chara is the man, but Ryan Miller is a series of men, each one larger than the last.
Especially fucking this year with that bum D-man he's got in front of him. You know that rookie.
Something to do with a T and a my.
Tyler, I'm gonna eat your face, Myers. That's it.
That
Yeah.
is the one. Nearly shooing for rookie of the year, Tyler Myers. Yeah, I hear he's halfway decent.
I don't think he's a bum. Although it'll be
Well
interesting to
said.
see whether or not Jimmy Howard gets nominated because I think he's a rookie this year. Unless he's
Jimmy Howard's a rookie, and I think Varlamov's a rookie this year as well. It's hard to say. I mean,
Duchesne's had a fuck hell of a year.
Yeah, like 55 points, I think. It's kind of been down to what you value more of, like the top rookie being like a scorer or defenseman or goaltender, because they're all very different positions, and it's hard to say. It's easy, like when it's Crosby or Ovechkin, you just pick who's the better player between those. But when you look at position to position, it's harder to say which player is better. Goaltending is obviously the most important position in hockey, but did the goaltender Jimmy Howard play better than those two guys? And it's kind of hard to it's apples to goaltending oranges. It's hard to
Last
say.
two goaltenders to win the Calder, for those of us keeping track, Steve Mason, and prior to that, anybody? Yes, Steven?
Evgeny Nabokov won the Calder Trophy as a goaltender.
But prior to that, Andrew Raycroft with the Boston Bruins.
Andrew Raycroft was the Rookie of the Year. Razor's Edge, we talked about that earlier. This guy, he plays for this team here. My hands are backwards because of the camera, but this team here.
So, just as a rookie goaltender, it's hard to gauge. I can't actually remember the last D-man to win the Calder. So it's going to be an interesting race. But
Yeah.
moving forward with the playoffs, 4-5, we got the obvious set of two bums, apparently. The Pittsburgh Penguins in the first game, and the Ottawa Senators in the 3 games since.
every game that follows. Right off the bat, Ottawa, really good team. They have everything going for them that they do, but the problem, which has been quite clear, is goaltending. Brian Elliott's a good young goaltender. Not experienced, you can't rely on him to take you through the playoffs. Pascal Leclerc is what Pascal Leclerc is, which is an okay goaltender who can be a 1A or a 1B, but is not a starting goaltender in and of himself. He's not going to play all the games for you. He's not going to be your
No, you can
preferable
use them in a
Longo.
tandem, but that's about it.
That's it. And when your tandem is a guy who isn't proven and a guy who's a rookie, you're going to get what you're going to get, and and we're playing against the Pittsburgh Penguins.
You
really
can
get
swear
scored
I've
on.
already dropped 2 F-bombs.
My mother's watching. Fuck. Shit.
I think the biggest mistake the Ottawa Senators made this year was finishing 5th instead of 6th. Because I think if they finished in 6th and played Buffalo, they would wipe the floor with them.
I don't know if they'd wipe the floor. The floor with them, but they definitely would have had a chance to maybe get past the first round.
All right, I'll give it to you. Let's move out west now. We got 1 versus 8. The San Jose Sharks versus the Colorado Avalanche. Steve, you've got a very close personal connection with this series. I'll let you go ahead.
Yeah, the San Jose Sharks, after my Vancouver Canucks, are definitely my favorite team in the NHL. Papa Joe Thorrington, Patty Marleau, Dan Heatley, Seta Maguchi. That's how you say his name, I know. Evgeny Nabokov is my favorite goaltender in the NHL. Love that team. For the life of them, they don't know what the playoffs are. I think that they think that there's the regular season, which lasts 82 games.
And then
There's
the season's over, right?
this-
It's
this
after
is-
82
this is-
games.
It's like a preseason kind of thing. It's like a postseason play, but preseason style, and that's definitely the way they seem to like to play. Unfortunately,
We won the President's Trophy. Game over.
that's it. We won the trophy we needed to win that series. Game 1, they took an overtime, a close game. Game 2, they lost, and game 3 in overtime.
The, how should I phrase this? Danny Boyle, what the fuck?
Overtime, both goalies putting up big old goose eggs, and your captain, your number 1 defenseman, arguably your best player, throws it in the net.
On a 1 in 1,012 chance.
A shot that he couldn't make if he's trying to do it on the other end of the ice.
And couldn't do again now if he tried.
No, like you would think it's crippling, but today they came out another close ass game. 32 saves, I think, for Nabokov, 42 saves for
Anderson.
Craig Anderson. But they come out on top in overtime again, and hopefully this is what they need to kind of push them over the edge. I thought the Thornton line was actually putting it up near the end of the game, but Joe Pavelski scored the game winner, which was pretty sweet. Good snipe show. Hopefully the Sharks can get their legs again under them, and they can push hard and maybe make a run at it for once.
Righto. Let's go 2 and 7. Let's crank these suckers out. 2, we got Chicago Blackhawks, 7